Have you checked out that game that everyone is playing called Stray?
I haven't played it myself. I am aware of it. It does look very cute, very interesting. So it's on the we'll probably pick up at some point in the near future list.
Yeah, it's good. I think you'll like it.
Mm-hmm.
What I like about it is that it's different.
Yeah.
We need something different. We don't have really any deviation from video games these days. It's all online. It's all multiplayer. There's nothing but microtransactions and loot boxes and shit. Very rarely do you have a single player game and a fresh idea, a fresh IP. So that's why I like this. So for the unaware, this game is very much taken off in the past week since it came out, but it was, I believe, revealed 2 years ago. And when it was revealed 2 years ago, generated a lot of hype, and now it's out. The game is called Stray. It's by Annapurna Interactive. And let's put it this way. I was at a concert last night, and two different groups of people standing near me, both of them at different times throughout the night, were talking about this game.
Yeah, that's buzz right there.
Yeah. So the game is about a cat. You play as a cat. You are a cat, and in the game you do cat things. You can claw at walls. You can meow.
As one does.
You jump up and down on things. You can knock things off of walls and then scare the shit out of yourself. I live with this every day. I have two felines that are both my prides and joy, and also the banes of my existence. I have them locked out of this room right now.
That's cats for you.
So, I think the heat is messing with them. I've noticed that they've been acting different. Now the house is cool. I've got air conditioners in every room. The big one in the first floor of my house, it goes on. It has a thermostat, so it goes on whenever it gets too hot. So but it's still not enough for them, because one of them they've both been more vocal than usual and more like needy. I don't know if like affection is the right word, but
hey, Dad, what the fuck?
Yeah. See, I think with my cat now, Cooper would call me Dad. My cats, because cats are jerks, would just call me Jack.
Yeah, true.
It's like Bart Simpson calling Homer by his first name.
Yeah.
And not Dad. But I'm sitting here during meetings every day this week, and Bill, who's the more vocal of the two, like eventually I had to like kick the cats out of the room every time I have a meeting, because I'd be sitting, every time I go to start talking, you just hear in the background, meow, meow. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like, what do you want? And then he's just staring at me. I'm like, okay, all right. So
that's what I wanted, you to stare at me.
Stray is not entirely a cat simulator. Like the game, you're not just playing as a cat and just doing cat things. There actually is a story to it. A very good story, in my opinion. In a cyberpunk setting, somewhat reminiscent. I'd say somewhat reminiscent to The Last of Us. I'm halfway through the game right now. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is, like I said, a refreshing change of pace from the drivel that we have as of late.
One thing I did hear about it is it's pretty short, and there's a lot of variation in how you can play. So I've heard that there's a lot of like excitement already that this could be a really big game in the speedrunner community. Oh, like you're gonna start seeing like all the big speedrunner pros trying to, if I meow with this wall in the correct angle 3 times, I glitch through it and can finish the game 15 seconds faster. That's gonna give it a lot of extra longevity.
Yep. It's definitely linear, but you are right. There is, especially once you get in the second half of the game, opportunities for you to just blitz through everything if you don't want to stop and actually like try to hunt for collectibles and take in the environment around you. But it's not entirely surprising given the pre-release hype for it that everyone's talking about it, but it's good. Yeah, like I said, I think you'd like it.
I'm glad a game is good. I always like to hear that.
Not a lot of games come out these days that are very good.
Yeah.
The Last of Us, which I believe you've played.
I have played the first one. I did not play the second one, but I spoiled myself intentionally on the story.
Okay.
Because I assumed I probably wasn't going to get around to playing it, but I wanted to know what everyone was talking about. So
right. Yeah. The second one, absolutely emotionally exhausting. Mm-hmm. I don't think it helped that the game came out right when Kate and I split up. So,
yeah,
I look back at that period and there's a lot of things that there's so many things I enjoy that, it's just in the back of my mind. I'm going to be like, hey, this is a thing that I was taking in when Kate and I split, and I was using that stuff as a distraction, as one going through such a situation would do.
Yeah,
absolutely. Last of Us Part 2 being one of those things, but at the same time, regardless of what would have been going on in my life or in the world at that time, summer 2020, still an absolutely emotionally exhausting game, and it's just one of those ones where I'm like, I don't know if I could play it again.
Yeah, I hear that.
But The Last of Us, the first game. Now, this is quite controversial. The Last of Us, the first game, is now referred to as The Last of Us Part 1. Because the sequel is Part 2. So The Last of Us Part 1 is a full-blown remake of the game. Now, mind you, the game hasn't even been out for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And we're getting a from the ground up remake, which has been controversial.
Right.
But I would say I understand why Naughty Dog is remaking the game, the developer, why they're doing the remake and why they're charging full price for it, but it looks absolutely fantastic. Of course I'm going to buy it on day one and play it again.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, what I think they're doing is they want to have, at some point, I think the intention, and this isn't what they've announced, this is just me kind of predicting the future here, but the intention is to release Part 1 and Part 2 together.
Right.
They wanted to have the games be visually and from a gameplay point of view is similar and as seamless as possible, so you can transition from Part 1 into Part 2 without the jarring difference in graphics and
makes sense
style. Because it has Part 1 now has inherited a lot of the gameplay innovations from Part 2.
Okay, cool.
The graphics look absolutely amazing. They didn't just like upscale stuff. They reskinned everything. The environments look different.
Yeah.
And it's coming out on PC too. So this.
Oh, cool.
This being, in my opinion, the greatest game ever made. Like that's. 2013 was a good year for games. Some of my favorite games ever developed all came out in 2013. Last of Us being one of those games. But like people say, like, oh, Ocarina of Time, best game ever. Final Fantasy VII, best game. Like whatever. No, Last of Us, the first Last of Us game is like should be the magnum opus of video games. And I guess like the opening scene to The Last of Us for the remake, it leaked this past week.
Yeah.
And all the comments I read all pretty much said the same thing. It was all people saying, this is awful. I hate this. This is terrible. I'm not talking about the game, the presentation. That's absolutely beautiful. I'm looking forward to it. It's the goddamn opening sequence of the game that I'm saying is awful and terrible because it turns me into an emotional wreck every single time.
Yeah. Yep.
So, be interesting to see how the HBO series handles that.
That's right. Yeah.
So, I don't know if the remake is supposed to coincide with the HBO series, but
makes sense. I imagine the series will probably generate a lot of interest.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the casting. That's my only gripe. Like, I'm not like against who they have playing Joel and Ellie. I just feel like I don't know if those were the best choices. It's Mandalorian. And Pedro Pascal,
yeah,
and Ellie's being played by the lovable, like she was a child queen on Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Lyanna Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kate
I forget
her.
the actress's name. Yeah,
right. So I mean, not bad actors. Just like, oh boy, Pedro Pascal playing the hero in another beloved IP.
Right.
So
I get it. I think people definitely get fatigued, like when an actor is wildly beloved for a while. So all of Hollywood goes, all right, cool, let's fucking put him in everything, and then like a year later, people are like, I hate this guy. Why is he in everything? I feel like that's kind of what's happening with Chris Pratt right now. Like, I know people have legitimate criticisms about the church he goes to, but I kind of just feel like he was so unbelievably beloved in Parks and Rec and Guardians of the Galaxy that they were like, all right, we need this guy to headline all of our franchises. And now everyone's like, so fucking sick of Chris Pratt. Oh my God. If I find out Chris Pratt is starring in one more thing I want to watch, I'm going to fucking scream.
Well, with the exception of, now I haven't seen it yet, but Thor Love and Thunder, everything that Chris Pratt has been doing as of late has been awful. Whereas
I only know one person who's seen Thor Love and Thunder, and they did not like it at all.
And that's what I've heard too, is that the Marvel Phase 4 that we're in right now, everything has pretty much been hit or miss.
Yeah,
and in the hits even are not really sticking the landings all that well. Which, whatever, dude. I mean, you had 10 years to build up to Infinity War. Endgame was absolutely fantastic. I mean, that's it.
Yeah, maybe Endgame should have been the Endgame. I could go on and on about my complaints in that regard about how no one ever wants to end anything anymore. Like, every time a show I love announces it's going to be the final season, everyone else on social media goes, no, I'm so sad. I love this show. I don't want it to end. And I go, yes, it's going to have a good ending. It's not going to get canceled suddenly or stay on for 20 years until I go, Jesus Christ, why hasn't the show ended yet?
Yeah. See, I think Samurai Jack was a great example of how you how you end a show. Mm-hmm. You cancel it abruptly.
Build hype over 20 years.
You wait for the audience to all grow up, which we did, and then now we're all adults, and then 20 years later you do a final season, but it's now more mature and more violent, and then you stick you arguably stick the landing. The end. Did you watch that final season?
Yeah.
So the last episode of Samurai Jack, and I think every episode of that season has like a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes. The last episode I don't think has a perfect score, and it's so polarizing because it's not a happy ending.
Right.
And there's a game that came out, a platforming Samurai Jack game that came out maybe like a year or two later. That I guess you would say it's a what if scenario. The game, it takes place during like that final battle with Aku, where Aku then gains the upper hand and throws Jack into the past yet again. And basically, if you get the best ending of the game, it's a retcon of the final like 5 minutes of that episode where now everything is good. It's the happy ending, and it was definitely like a fan service type of thing. It's a what if scenario, but it's sort of giving people, I don't know if you would equate it to like Mass Effect 3 and its DLC that changed the ending, but it's definitely to appease both sides.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mass Effect 3's thing wasn't like a retcon. It just like explained things. The original ending was like the same stuff still happened, just the original ending was portrayed in such a way that a lot of people assumed the worst possible things. And then so they were like, what? Why would you think we did that? Holy shit, we're not monsters. And then they released the extended cut, which actually showed like more spelled out what they were trying to go for with the ending.
Now, do you think that was necessary? Do you think they could have gotten away with not doing that?
I think it was better for it. See, I had some complaints about Mass Effect 3, but they were largely different from what everyone else was complaining about. So, like, I still think the free DLC they released was an improvement, but I don't think the original was as like irredeemably horrible as a lot of people made it seem.
Okay. I've despite my best attempts, I've never played more than like 2 hours of the first Mass Effect game, and I have now on Game Pass I have the Legendary Edition.
Yeah. So. Have you tried playing the Legendary Edition or just the original?
Just the original.
Okay, because I haven't played the Legendary Edition yet, and mind you, I do like Mass Effect 1. My understanding is they drastically updated the gameplay of 1, because of the 3, that one is just the hardest for anyone to get through. The gameplay is just like way more obtuse and needlessly difficult compared to 2 and 3. So they just Yeah,
well, the first game came out in 2007. I mean, games weren't like as intuitive and flowing as smooth as they are these days. So I've played Andromeda, which I know people like to pretend doesn't exist.
Yeah, and that's another example of a game that I liked well enough, and I feel like I would have liked a lot if they had just like put a little bit more polish on it. So, I just kind of blame EA for that. I feel like it had a lot of really good potential that it just didn't quite manage to meet.
I'd like BioWare, too. I mean, BioWare is really not what they used to be.
Well, yeah, that's the big complaint is like every one of their games pre being acquired by EA is considered an absolute masterpiece. And every one of their games after being acquired by EA is considered between 5 and I don't want to acknowledge this. And mind you, I like a lot of them. Like I liked Mass Effect 3. I liked Dragon Age Inquisition. I love Dragon Age Inquisition, actually. But it all comes down to personal taste. And I can see a lot of the complaints, like even the later Dragon Age games, which I really, really enjoy. The complaints people have about them, I get. Like I look at those things and I go, yeah, those things do suck. I agree. I just think that the story and characters are good enough that to me they make up for any gameplay, problems.
Sure.
So, but that's going to be a your mileage may vary sort of thing.
I saw that GameStop, they have a process called pennying out, which Kate taught me about. That's when they sell things for quite literally 1 American penny.
I'm pretty sure I remember learning that too from my brief time working there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I forgot you worked there for the holiday season.
Yeah.
They penny things. I got actually a lot of good stuff. It was all penny, like strategy guides and like little trinkets and shit. Because if they sell it, because they can't just give stuff away for free, so they sell it for a penny, and then if it still doesn't sell, then they literally just destroy it. So they're trying not to waste product. And GameStop right now has an exuberant stock of Anthem copies that they are trying to get rid of, and they're pennying it all out now.
Yeah, I'm pretty much as big of a shameless BioWare apologist as you will ever find. I did not play Anthem, and I never had even 1 minute of interest in trying out the game. No.
I knew a guy, he was trying so hard to sell me on Anthem when it came out, and I'm like, dude, no, it's not happening. You can't. I'm glad you're having fun. And I'm sure that 5 other people that are playing the game are having fun too, but it's not going to work, dude.
Wasn't there a guy who, for Asheron's Call 2, the game was so unpopular they wanted to shut down the servers, but exactly 1 person was so adamant that he loved the game that they kept the servers alive longer just for him?
Well, I can tell you from firsthand experience, without giving too much detail away, I didn't have to sign an NDA on my way out, too. Asheron's Call 2, there was so the game did get shut down. And what happened was, the one guy at the company, at the studio who did tech support, just happened to have a computer, an old computer, at his desk that had the entire game on a hard drive within it. Everything needed to get the game back online. Yep. And they could have just junked the computer, junked a hard drive, and then he just hey guys, look what I found. and they put it they put it back up, and it ended up they didn't like charge a subscription for it. Like I think if you bought the first game, you could buy like a one-time purchase of the first game, and it came with the second one bundled for free. And it never had any more than like 200 players at any given time. It had a very dedicated fan base, and then Asheron's Call kind of fell into a limbo between things were sold off between companies. Asheron's Call fell into sort of a ownership limbo, and the only thing they could do is shut it down entirely. So both games were shut down. Acc, I know you played a lot of the first Asheron's Call.
I did, and I mean that was a long time ago. That was like 6th to 8th grade that I was playing Asheron's Call.
That was, I think, the third. Was it the first or the third MMO ever developed? It was among the first.
It was not the first. I believe its claim to fame was it was the first to have like a monthly update schedule. They would every month do like sometimes very minor, sometimes more major, but every month they would do like a little, like a new quest or like a town would change a little bit in game. So it was kind of the first like evolving, regularly updated MMO.
Yeah, I actually I remember very vividly the day that they announced that they weren't doing that anymore, because a lot of good people all lost their jobs that day.
Right.
But I that was up to 2014. I remember.
Wow. Yeah. So I mean, that would have been 10 years after I stopped playing, at least.
Yep. Yeah, there's still people out there that poor company. Anytime they announce anything that they're working on now, and trying to like generate excitement among their current products, they just get flooded with bring back Asheron's Call.
Oh man!
So Asheron's Call, one of the first massively multiplayer MMOs. Which I never played, but I know you and I know a lot of people that played. Actually, Mike's brother-in-law, I remember I helped him get his account back.
Wow.
Because he brought it up, and I'm like, he's like, I want to play the game again. I'm like, I can probably help you get your account back. And we got to go through some steps, but I'm sure we still have it. And I found it, and he got it back, and I felt so bad because I knew that they were shutting the game down, and I'm like, I told him like, yeah, I can help you get it back, and I really highly recommend you get into it.
Yeah.
Without giving like too much away. And then
get it out of your system soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, when they announced that it was going away, I mean, he was just like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but he was happy to get, a few months out of it while he could. So,
yeah.
Wow, that's, I think, the first time I've ever really gotten in detail about that, and that's the most detail I'm getting into about it.
Yeah, I didn't really mean for you to talk insider info. I thought it would be more like, oh yeah, I read on Kotaku that there was this guy who really loved Asheron's Call too.
No, I know exactly who saved the game, who brought it back from the dead, who was responsible for it. I mean, I haven't worked there in 4 months now, and they didn't, like I said, they didn't make me sign anything on the way out. Not that I have any secrets that I want to share. I don't want to get sued.
Right.
It's just nothing beyond the prospect of potentially facing a lawsuit is stopping me from talking about it. It's just also like, why would I? I'm not
yeah. Also, the only projects that I was aware of through alphas are now both public knowledge.
Right.
So
yeah,
I'm dry of anything interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Are you going to try multiverses now that it's actually a thing?
Maybe, but it's not like top of my list of. I like Smash Brothers well enough for the novelty, but I'm really bad at it, so I don't really have like a big thirst for another Smash Brothers that I'm also bad at.
Okay. This, again, not giving away where I worked, but my name's in the credits still. I didn't realize I'd get that.
Oh, cool.
I thought they would have taken me out with the Lego Skywalker saga, but I'm in it for multiverses, which I guess is a nice one to go out on.
Cool.
But I read today, I know nothing about the game. I never played it during the alpha, and I don't know if I'm gonna play, because I'm just not into those types of games. I also was never good at Smash Brothers, but I also just wasn't like, I mean, I was a Sega kid growing up, so like, I just never really had the same emotional connection everyone else has to Smash Bros. But I do like, and Kate is going to be so pissed about this, that there's a move decay in multiverses where you can't just you can't just down B the entire time.
Exactly. Yeah,
they'll penalize you if you keep doing it. Like it's like 5 times in a row, and then they're like, okay, attack delay. You cannot do this move anymore, or it's not going to do any damage because it's clearly the only move you know how to do, and you're spamming it because you are just not skilled in anything.
Yeah. No, makes sense.
And I guess people are blasting the voice acting by LeBron James because they're adding him to the game,
like as himself from Space Jam.
Yep, and it's pointing out that NBA players should just not do voice acting.
Well, that's fair. I feel like him being authentically himself, who is not an actor, would be more endearing than like getting an actor to play him.
Right. Not everyone is Shaq, where they can't transition from sports into acting and having a career.
Right.
Somebody posted this on Reddit earlier today. It's a compilation of voice acting from NBA 2K15.
Mm-hmm.
And it's furthering the example of why athletes I guess athletes just shouldn't go into acting. Here we go.
All right, because if I have to learn anything, it's that you have to tune out the noise. Only thing that matter is what happened between the lines. Do the work, listen to the coaches, and the result will take care of themselves. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the money, the nice hotel, the private jets. Remember that, and you will be fine. Okay.
Oof. Oof. But also, why does an NBA game need cinematic cutscenes? Like, just take them out. If you hear that line read, go, you know what? This isn't necessary for the game. Let's just do without it.
There's like a whole like story mode and a whole campaign. This is a game that came out 7 years ago now because they do NBA, they do sports games yearly. But like, why have a career mode? Why do any of this?
Yeah.
There was one of them, I can't remember if it was this game, but there's one of them that you get like you start at the bottom and you make your way into the major leagues, whatever. And you get like a nice fancy apartment that you can like build up over time, but they made the space that your character can actually run around in like it's like just the equivalent of a small hallway. Like there's stairs going up to the second floor of your apartment. You can't go up the stairs. There's furniture everywhere. You can't go anywhere near it.
Oh my God.
I remember back in the day, sports games, you turn the game on and then you're in whatever game it is.
Yeah. I mean, if you were lucky, you'd get to unlock Bill Clinton as a playable character.
You're saying Bill Clinton because my shirt has Bill Clinton on it.
I didn't even notice that. No, wasn't there like an old like SNES NBA game that had a really weird cast? It had like Kim Jong-un and Bill Clinton, and
they had a few games like that, like like more of like this like NBA Jam. It was like street based like sports games that didn't take themselves too seriously compared to the other games. The closest you would get in those cases to like campaign mode was like exhibition mode, was the equivalent of playing like a game, like a sports full season. Like 16, you'd play 16 straight NFL games because you're
that's kind of what I always assumed was the full depth of story mode in these games. Just leave voice acting out of it.
No, now you have things like this.
You're right. He's right. We got too much talent and we work too hard to be playing like this. We got to get this train right back on track real quick like.
That's right. We all have that attitude. The train will be rolling in no time. Let's do it.
That was tough. That was rough to get through.
You can tell, like, I can hear in the background, like, it's obvious they weren't recording this in a studio. Like they were recording it in the locker room, kind of like almost like a pre or a post game interview.
Yeah,
we're pulling aside like, "Hey, Jim, right over here. Can you record these 4 lines for NBA 2K15?"
Wow.
I mean, they said there's no difference between this and like any advertisement that you hear on the radio that an athlete does.
Yeah.
For like a children's hospital or something.
Or like, I love when like a really bad movie is like being done by Riff Tracks or Mystery Science Theater, and there'll be a really terrible line read, and one of the riffers will go like, I fucked up that line. Do you want me to redo it? No, that was perfect. It was got it in one. Moving on. Next scene.
Do you remember when was it when on The Simpsons when Lisa is there? She wants to make like something that competes against Malibu Stacy, and Krusty, like she's sitting in like they're recording the lines for the doll, like you pull the string and the doll talks, and then Krusty just comes in. He's just like, all right, let's do this. 1, hey, let me do it again. Hey, 2, bada bing, bada boom. Learn from the best game. He just leaves, and then the engineer goes, okay, Krusty, we're ready to start. Where is he? Where did he go?
Yeah,
I got to play one more of this.
Yeah.
Who have thought
About what?
that a young buck like you could actually do the right thing and avoid getting his sorry
I had a
butt kicked
teammate
out the
hold me
game?
back. Told me to chill.
Sounds like a wise fella to win in this league. You need all hands on deck. Good call. Check it.
The ref should have checked his cell. He was trash all night.
Only thing we can control there is ourselves. Forget the ref, the fan, even the opponent. Handle your business, and the rest will take care of itself. All right?
I guess so.
I genuinely feel bad for the person who is reading that line. That like there's just like pain in their voice. That was painful for them to get through. And for what? Who benefited from anyone doing that?
There's one point where Dion his voice, he screws up the line and the other one just kicks in.
Yeah.
The other part of the script just starts going.
So,
Yep.
forget the ref, the fan, even the opponent. Handle your business, and the rest will take care of itself. All right?
Yep. Words to live by.